Again, if someone is confused about whether I'm pretending to be a physicist after all this, then I'm afraid you're just not paying attention. I'm a composer who has written a large number of songs and a book, all built around a new way of thinking about time and space, which we're playing with in this project. And while there are many ideas taken from mainstream physics and cosmology, this is better thought of as a creative exploration that blends together science, philosophy, spirituality, and metaphysics. Part of its problem, I believe, is that it's such a wide-ranging exploration that it's hard for the mainstream press to decide how to describe what's happening here. Even just within the science world, it blends too many competing schools of thought together. For instance, David Deutsch doesn't believe his bush-like branching structure is in the fifth dimension, even though that fits so nicely with the branching idea from the fourth to the fifth dimension as I portray it. Quantum physics doesn't require higher dimensions, it just requires an unobserved fabric of information, which is how I describe the 10th dimension in isolation from the others. String theorists don't believe our universe is a point in the 7th dimension, although they do say our universe is the result of a 7-dimensional brain interacting with a 3-dimensional brain. String theory doesn't equate the bush-like branching structure of probabilistic outcomes with the fifth dimension's curled up at the Planck length description that they often use. Again, even though imagining that our 4D line of time is being constructed from available branches one Planck length away at a time allows us to easily visualize how such a thing could be possible. And of course, many mainstream scientists are dismissive of any way of describing reality that also incorporates other more metaphysical or spiritual ideas into the equation, which are the parts of this discussion we haven't even touched upon here. In the meantime, though, the internet continues to be its own universe, and the number of people being drawn to this site from around the world through their connections to each other, through the ideas we're exploring here, and the growing feeling that our world is changing is very exciting. Enjoy the journey. Rob Bryanton. So that's the video blog entry for today, and it's something that we've really tried to avoid doing, trying to force the book down people's throats, because this is really more about the discussion of a set of ideas than it is trying to get you to buy something. And as you can see by the massive amount of material that's already available free of charge, I hope people are finally willing to believe that really is the point of what we're talking about here, and that it's not as some people have said, a scam. It's not a scam. It's a way of imagining reality that a lot of people are finding useful. So what I'd like to do to wrap up the last part of today's video log is just to go back to through the chat logs from the last few days again, and this is something that we try and do on a regular basis. As the text is scrolling underneath the picture of me that you're seeing at 10thdimension.com/chat, that's also going into a text log that we can refer back to afterwards. And so even if it appears that that there's nobody else in the room right now, please feel free to type your questions and comments and criticisms into that window, and it will be looked at, and we'll try to deal with at least some of them here in future shows to come. So I'm going back now to December 1st, 2007's chat log, where somebody posted a link saying that Richard Dawkins may be charged in Turkey for his book, The God Delusion. And John, who we've talked about before here, just writes back and says, "That's whack." Somebody else writes in and just says, what is the schedule for these chats? John writes back and says it's just kind of random, actually, which is true. I do try to keep this window open when I'm working on other things, and even if the video that you're watching is a recording, I still may be watching the window, and if I am, I'll tune in and respond to questions as they come up. But that's not something that's happened for the last couple of days here. I've been busy with other stuff. But somebody the next day writes in and says there's a globalization video that's awesome. That's the other thing that's really cool about this, is whenever somebody posts a link to an animation or a movie, it becomes part of the stuff that you can view just clicking on the thumbnails over to the right and here in the chat window. And it does allow people then to share stuff in what we're calling asynchronous real time. Somebody the following day talks about the last issue of New Scientist magazine which says that our role as quantum observers caused the acceleration of the universe's expansion, possibly. And this is something that I've talked about. It's a very interesting article, and one of those mind-blowing things that seems to be coming from science right now, which really opens your mind up to the possibilities of just what could be happening here. Somebody posted a link to the Jedi mind trick, which is kind of fun. If you find that one in the thumbnails over to the right, see if you can work through the things that they ask you to do there, and see whether the Jedi mind trick can be pulled on you. Linker writes in and says, have you voted in the current 10th Dimension poll? And I should mention that if you go to 10thdimension.com/blog, there is a poll usually running, and the one that's running right now is about 2012, and whether you believe it's all going to be just another thing that blows over and turns out nothing at all happened, or whether you think 2012 might actually be something very significant that's coming down the pipes towards us right now. So do check on that. A mention here from Linker about the Golden Compass, a drama about the multiverse. I saw that on the weekend in a preview. I'd recommend it highly. It's being criticized as an attack on religion. I viewed it more as an attack on power structures that try to keep the truth from people, and if people within religious communities are saying they don't like to be portrayed as keeping the truth from people, then I'm not sure what that says about the people in the religious community that are saying that. The truth is the truth, and it shouldn't be kept from the people. Somebody else writes in a little later on in the day and says, what is this asterisk? Imagining the 10th dimension, and the unseen eye is you and I, they say, which must have been the music video that was going by at that time. And then the person says, you're on drugs, and keep doing them because 10th dimension is genius. I'm actually not on drugs, but there are a lot of people that participate in this who say that there are strong connections between the things that they've seen under the influence of various hallucinogens and this way of imagining reality. I think that's very cool, but it's not really not what this is all about. This is not a drug site. This is a site about imagining reality, and there are an awful lot of pieces to the puzzle that each of us bring to the table from our own experience of how we can view reality, and that is just one of the many. Somebody else wrote in, we're up to yesterday now, is consciousness a dimension itself? This is one of the things that has been talked about a little bit in previous blog entries. One of the things that I've come to portray in this way of imagining is that you can think of the zero as being consciousness, or the quantum observer, or the thing that is ultimately collapsing out from the 10th dimension, the reality that we're currently in. And as one person describing this way of imagining the 10 dimensions put it, in fact it was Gavin Gjorbrand when he was describing this in his book, The New Revision mentions this project, and he says this indicates then that each of us is our own little world, and that's another one of those crazy ideas that really does make sense in quantum physics terms, but also makes sense if you're coming at this from a spiritual side as well, saying that each of us is a reflection of God, or each of us is our own quantum observer. Either are really ways of expressing the same idea.